The issues you've been struggling with for years is utilities, I guess mainly electrical, sewage, and water. Is it possible to give a 30-second summary of what's ahead of us there, what the remaining challenges are for those projects, and financially and otherwise?
Yeah, I would say we are beginning to make some progress on the utilities. The very first issue which needs to be addressed is we have 2 water meters that service Fort Monroe. The first one is you come off of the Monroe Bridge. It's immediately to your left in a silver vault. Right after you get up, come off the bridge and land on the shore, and you're headed towards the main entrance. And the other water meter is a similar vault that you'll find at the corner of Old Buckborough Road and Mercury Boulevard. It's roughly 5,000 feet off the property, which is just shy of a mile. That's a 14-inch water line that comes out of that water meter and goes underneath Mercury Boulevard, or along parallels Mercury Boulevard underneath the sidewalk, and then crosses 2 bridges before it comes onto the property. We are required to service that water line when it breaks, and it's broken several times, sometimes more than once a year. And so the first project that we'll be undertaking is actually moving that water meter onto the property. In order to move the water meter onto the property, Newport's Waterworks is requiring us to replace the 14-inch water line with a 16-inch water line and stub it out at all of the intersections so that they can extend it into the neighborhoods. That is not unusual for Newport's Waterworks. If you were doing a development project, that's what you would hire a Newport's Waterworks approved engineer. You would submit the plans to be approved by Newport's Waterworks. Newport's Waterworks would then approve. We give you a list of contractors that are approved by them. They would bid on the project. You would select one of those, and then you would actually pay Newport's Waterworks to actually do the inspection of the project as it was constructed. And in the end, when it's over with, then you get to give all of your work to Newport's Waterworks, and they get to charge people for using the water. So the good news is that they have approved that process for this project. And so the first project you will see happen in the utilities is relocating that water line, that water meter, and replacing the water line. That is out now for engineering bids. So the engineering companies across the region are preparing their proposals to design that water line. And once we get those approved, then we will go into a design phase of designing it, and then it'll go into a bidding phase for contractors, and then it'll go into a construction phase. And that will be the first step towards putting the Fort Monroe property in a position to where the utilities can then begin to be extended onto the property. So it's going to be a methodical process, and clearly once you start doing that, you're also going to have to start to talk about preservation techniques to ensure that the property is protected, archaeological issues and so forth are explored as all this takes place. It's going to be a process, but we're starting.
And that ultimately results in individual meters on individual properties inside?
Yeah, we're moving towards individually metering properties even now. We can do that, but yes, the real goal is to create a utility system that can be turned over to the utility provider. They simply will not take over utilities for which they did not inspect, did not oversee the installation, and they don't know the condition of them. So they just will not take over the utility system at Fort Monroe until it is upgraded or improved or replaced according to their standards. And that's true across the board for the utilities.
How about electrical and sewage? Are there big challenges there or not?
Sewage is pretty much exactly the same as water, except for it is already on the property. But yeah, we can get into a lot of details about that. Electric has been replaced, and this is where I'm going to have to just make sure John doesn't let me get too far over my skis. Most of the electricity has been replaced to the transformers, and then it's a mix of from the transformers to the buildings as to whether those are FMA responsibilities or whether they are Dominion's responsibility. Is that a good overview? And happy to discuss that in more detail with anybody who wants to, later. So yeah, it's a complicated network of utilities in Fort Monroe that need to be mainly replaced to standards which are acceptable to the utility providers, so that they then will take over those utilities.
And through that entire process, our office, my office, Paul and Sam and I, we get the designs, the drawings for all of these undertakings, and before anything starts, we'll review it and mitigate any issues that we see, and then we will then consult with all the signatories and stakeholders if required.
Is there an opportunity, I guess we still have some overhead electrical lines on Fort Monroe, I don't know, in places.
We do, and we actually have.
Are we trying to get them undergrounded as opportunities present themselves?
Mark, the ones that were left in the, after the Weary Apartments were taken down are actually going to come out. Cox had to move some services off poles, and they've done that. They completed that actually on Monday. Then Dominion has committed to coming in and taking those poles out because they're no longer needed. The ones that run down Ingalls Road actually service the Chamberlain. The Chamberlain is the only portion of the electrical system at Fort Monroe that's privatized like in anywhere else in the city. So Dominion and the Chamberlain would have to work that out in order for those telephone poles to come down.
All right.
I'll be followed by Terry.